Boston where my only friends in the whole world are.
That's not an option, Carrie. You know, a fresh start brings its own luck.
Why does it always have to be your way?
This indicates right here our children's wing with the orthopedic, cranial, psychiatric disease wards, and very important, the daycare center for our working mothers to bring their kids. Oh, look at this. This is our new engraved sign that was designed by one of our leading artists here in the state. That's absolutely gorgeous, isn't it? And coming up, you'll see the reflecting pond, and behind that is the Cardiac Rehabilitation Center with the state-of-the-art monitored exercise equipment. And going on here, we'll find the parking facilities. Parking facilities are very important here. There'll be plenty of parking. And you'll also notice the very lovely grounds. It's just wonderful, but no picnicking allowed out there, I'm afraid. But no picnicking anyway, because in our kitchen is going to be the absolute state-of-the-art in terms of hospital nutrition. No more jokes about bad hospital food, believe me. I think I'll come down and have lunch myself from time to time. And all in all, I'm telling you, I don't think we could have done better. Everyone did wonderful on this whole job, and I think it's really terrific. I guarantee you, this will be one of the finest medical facilities in Eastern Ohio.
Do you realize how long we've been waiting for this, Mayor?
Well, I had to twist a few arms and call in a whole lot of favors, but our city council came through with the appropriation, and our knight in shining armor, Mr. Paul Stryker, put us over the top. Now, we will begin breaking ground on our remodel by the 1st of next year, and that is guaranteed. Guaranteed.
Or else I'll hold a county lottery to raise the money. Grand prize, a free operation. Head to navel. Second prize, navel to knee. Third prize, removal of corns, calluses, and protruding onions.
And the booby prize will be an operation by Dr. McMahon here. Of your choice.
Chief of Staff, humor.
That's McMahon.
Mm-hmm.
Very distinguished.
And none of this would happen without the diligent,
Wally
diligent
Shaw,
work of this man.
world's oldest living resident.
So how old are you then?
I'm 42. And you?
Well, we really didn't have to convince anybody because the people
And you?
in this community...
Dr. Jaclyn Willis, and I'm not telling you my age.
Aha. You know, they told me that a Dr. Willis was coming, but they didn't tell me that you were a woman.
Disappointed?
No, not at all.
And I wanted to get out of Boston.
Well, that's fine, but here?
It's Dr. Greenway. I'm lucky to be training under her.
Funny, you don't look crazy.
Her reputation. Ask anyone, the best 5 women surgeons, and she's always on the list.
Oh, sure. Cutting up people's her specialty. You'll see. Carry on, Al. We'll just wait outside.
Don't you have work to do?
No, off duty.
Don't you have a family then?
Divorced. Long time ago. Other vital stats, cholesterol level 183, blood pressure 118 over 74. I'm a runner.
Okay.
Identifying marks, a small appendectomy scar,
That's
my lower
okay.
right.
Okay.
So, you can just go on in. Carrie and I'll just stay out here to bandage your wounds.
Okay. See you in a minute.
Greenway has a tongue like a number 12 Bart Parker blade. That means that she's got it's very sharp.
Your first priority will be the operating room. You will assist me with private patients. You will operate on charity patients without supervision. I'm sure this is not the way they do it in Boston, but this is a smaller facility here, and we have to make do with what we have.
I feel very fortunate to be here, Dr. Greenway. When I read your article on
You will oversee the junior residents. You will teach them basic surgical techniques, and you will personally see every patient who has had surgery that day. Understood?
Yes.
Your duties will remain constant during your entire 2-year stay with us, after which you should be properly trained and experienced. I'm a very demanding physician, Dr. Willis.
So I've heard.
No doubt it wasn't put so delicately. I turn out first-rate doctors. Anyone not interested in that enterprise or who has concerns more important than their work
Such as husbands or children.
won't have an easy time of it.
Do you give this same introductory speech to all your residents, or only the female ones?
Don't make too many mistakes, Dr. Willis, or you'll be out of here.
I'm not in the habit of making mistakes. Not a lot of fun, is she? Am I bleeding? Anything requiring stitches?
It's not funny.
Hey, come on, guys. I'll show you the palace where you'll be staying. So, rent's cheap. It's close to the hospital.
I want my old house, my old friends, and I want my old life.
Just hang on with me, Carrie. 2 more years, and I'll be finished with my residency.
This one's mine. Yours is over here. Come on. I'll show you. Come on.
It is close to the hospital.
It's gross.
Grossville.
I let your housekeeper in. I thought it would be all right.
That's fine.
I wanted it shiny clean for you. First time you look at a new room, it should be shiny clean. It makes the moving easier.
Mrs. Kraybeck?
Call me Frances. Since Mr. Kraybeck died 15 years ago in Kentucky, I'm nobody's missus anymore. 10 on your last birthday. You like to read, I bet. Ramona Quimby, age 8, Henry and Bezoos, and probably all the Judy Blume books. And you hate being here.
My mother told you all that in her letters.
Nope, she just told me how much she'd pay me for taking care of you and what my hours would be. I figured you out from looking. Come on, I'll show you your room. I cleaned it first.
Listen, can I take you and Carrie out to dinner? Then just you?
No.
Another time.
You know, I've been single such a short time, and I seem to have enough on my plate this year. Carrie, a new city, Dr. Greenway to contend with.
Well, I'll just try again next year. After you.
It's like a swimming pool in May. Jump in and it warms up. Come on.
I hate my heart class.
Dr. Willis. Dr. Willis, Nancy Miller.
Nice to meet you.
Dr. Yardley, Dr. Willis.
They told me you were coming. Welcome.
Thank you.
You have a glove, sorry? Yeah, I got it. I need to wet these patents.
How's he doing?
Stable and groovy.
Can you check if we have some Coros on the table? It's Greenway.
What have you got?
Gunshot to the left parietal.
Exit?
It didn't.
What was his condition when they brought him in?
His left pupil was dilating.
Did you get an X-ray?
CT scan.
What are you going to do with this bullet? Remove it or leave it in? You can die while you make up your mind, Doctor. All you have to do is move a little bit slower. You won't kill him, but you won't save him either. What are you going to do?
Leave it in.
Why? There's a very high incidence of sagittal sinus thrombosis. If the sinus cuts off, he'll die.
If I remove it, he could bleed to death.
Yes.
I don't know if the bullets in the sinus are just plugging the dike. Safe to leave it in. It's a matter of judgment.
Judgment. Yes. That's what lives depend on. So you're right.
Nice job, kiddo.
Thanks. Now that we've seen our post-ops, we're going to be taking a look at our referrals for evaluation. Mr. Harris is scheduled for an MRI this afternoon. He's been experiencing dizziness and slurred speech. Hi, Mr. Harris. How are you today? Ready for your MRI?
So did you have your dinner?
Yeah.
And Frances, how are the two of you doing?
She's right here. I mean, she's watching TV in the next room.
Well, of course she's right there. I'd be mighty upset if she weren't. Carrie, just say good, fair, the jury's still out.
No verdict. The jury's locked up for days. Maybe even as long as weeks.
Okay, I get it. I'll be home soon.
When?
Soon? I don't know exactly. But I want to find you in bed when I get there.
Okay.
Yeah, okay.
Good night, sweetheart. Next year, I'll be able to tuck you in almost every night.
I'll believe it when I see it.
Good night, Carrie.
Night.
Oh, hey, it says here you can only have an 8-foot couch, not a 10-foot.
Well, you want to come over with some sodas or something?
That's great, yeah. What do you think, Mr. Daniel?
My mother said I could stay out until she comes home.
9 o'clock on the dot. No stalling, no reading in bed.
You didn't talk to her, I did. Tonight I get to stay up.
Mr. Craybeck was in the military from the time I met him when we were 18 until the day he died. So that means I was in the military, too. We had to pick up and move the family every year or so. And I had to learn to follow orders the same way he did.
Is there a point to this story?
The point, Miss Wills, is that your mother gave me my orders. The child goes to bed at 9 o'clock, not 9:15, not 9:30. And I never heard even a whisper about the child staying up to all hours. I take my orders from the top. Got it?
But I'm not going to salute.
I think it's, So how's your patient?
He'll live.
And you?
Well, if I can just get through this year, maybe then I can begin to repair some of the damage of the past year.
It must be hard on Carrie, huh?
Sure, I've uprooted her. From her friends, we have no family nearby. Everything that was comforting and familiar, she's lost.
She miss her father?
Yeah.
And you?
How did you get to be a resident at 42?
Aha. The old change the subject routine. You know, Kate. You know, you can just tell me that you don't want me to talk about your former husband. Do you always eat this much?
If the food's better, I eat more.
Where do you put it?
You're a 42-year-old resident. What, because you started med school late?
Nope. This is my 4th residency. Internal medicine, cardiology, general surgery, and now anesthesiology.
You like to have a broad base of knowledge.
No. I just can never make up my mind about anything. Ever. Except about you. We're gonna be friends.
2 weeks vacation coming in
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
My fault.
Oh, no,
My fault.
it's all mine. I'm sorry.
Okay. We won't argue about it.
But it's still mine.
Okay, you win. Good night.
Night. You know, you shouldn't be out here alone this time of night.
I'm just going to my car.
Well, the parking lot's not too safe even during the day.
It's all right.
Let me walk you to your car. I'm early. I'm not on duty for a half hour.
Really, I'm fine.
I'd rather walk you than worry about you.
Okay.
Okay. My name's Jonathan. Jonathan Parnell. I'm an X-ray technician here.
Nice to meet you, Jonathan.
You a nurse?
Doctor.
I'm sorry.
It's okay. It's a common mistake.
Which car's yours?
That one down there. You don't have to walk me all the way.
It's my pleasure. So you've been here long?
This is my first week.
Well, maybe we'll run into each other again. But it's a big hospital.
This one's mine. Thank you.
Okay. Lock your door now.
Okay. Thank you.
See you, doctor.
Gotcha.
Dr. Willis.
Bruises and lacerations.
She's all right?
Well, if you don't count that she's been raped, is in shock, and is barely making sense.
I'm very sorry, Dr. Willis. We're all sorry.
I was going home, and this man offered to walk me to my car. He said that, well, it was late, and he said it was dangerous for a woman to be out alone so late. He wore a hospital jacket, and he said he was an X-ray technician here, and I believed him. Parnell, Jonathan Parnell, he said his name was.
Check the hospital records.
He knows he's about to rape a woman. He'd be an idiot to give his real name.
Try it anyway.
Personnel, second floor. They'll have it. They'll find him. And then we'll put all this behind us. You take all the time you need at home with your family.
I have a young daughter.
Then we'll go on. It's not good for you or the hospital to dwell on this. And of course, we'll give you all the help you need. We'll give you all the help you need.
You've got my number. So call me if you need me, honey, okay?
Mommy? You got home so late.
Very.
Can I have cereal? You forgot the milk. What happened?
I'm all right now, Carrie.
Who did that to your face?
A man
A
that
patient at the hospital?
As I was leaving the hospital, a man I didn't know offered to walk me to my car. He said that it was too dark and dangerous to be out alone. He said that he was an x-ray technician there. So I let him. And then when we got to my car, he heard me.
You let a stranger walk with you? You tell me never to talk to strangers or go anywhere with anybody I didn't know. Look, you tell me that all the time.
Yes, I thought that...
It was stupid.
You're right, Carrie. You're right. I wasn't thinking.
Bad things can happen, and you've got to be careful. You weren't careful.
I'm all right, though.
You're supposed to be smart. You're a doctor, aren't you? How can you be so dumb?
Stupid made the call. She saw him.
This look like his hairline?
It was dark. I can't...
Was he wearing a hat?
No.
He walked you from the building all the way to the parking lot, didn't he?
Yes.
You were able to see his face, weren't you?
Yes, but it was dark.
All right, you told us that, Doctor. Now think for a minute. Try to remember. We gotta know what we're looking for.
I don't know about his hairline. I really don't know.
Okay, what about the color of his hair?
How's that?
Yes. Something like that. So.
Was he thin? What about the face, the cheekbones?
He had a fairly thin face.
The eyes. Far apart, close set?
Wide set. Wide set.
Something like this?
Doctor.
You know, I hardly looked at him.
All right, the entrance to the building was well lit, right?
Yes.
Now, you told us you bumped into him and you had a conversation with the man, right? Am I right?
He was average looking. Like 1,000 other men.
Tell me, aren't doctors trained to be observant?
Yes. In the operating room with a patient. I was off duty. I was exhausted. I wanted to get home to my daughter.
How many minutes would you say you were in conversation with him? 2, 5?
At least 2.
Do you realize how long 2 minutes can be, Doctor? And you're telling me you don't remember anything about his face?
If I knew he was going to rape me, I would have looked closer.
Well, maybe you don't want to remember his face. Maybe you're sorry you reported it at all.
He had a knife. A man I never met before slugged me across the face, pulled a knife on me, and raped me. As God is my witness, if I could have pulled that knife away from him, I would have killed him.
I don't think we're gonna get any more, Frank.
Think about it, Doctor. If you can remember anything, call me, okay?
Look, Doctor, from what we know about rapists, they almost always perform the same way. Is there anything at all you can tell us about what he said or what he did?
He just clamped his hand over my mouth and hit me. I fought back, and, then he got on top of me and said, "Gotcha." And then he raped me.
Right before he raped you?
Yeah.
All right, doctor, thank you. And look, if anything else occurs, you give us a call. You better get some counseling. It's going to hit you when the shock wears off. You do your job, I do mine.
Oh, yeah.
Carrie, didn't you hear me? I wanted you to come get me.
I'm right here.
Did you go to work today?
No, I had to go to the police station and answer some questions.
So I can catch the guy.
Yes.
What if he comes back?
Carrie, he doesn't know where I live. He doesn't even know my name. The man who hurt me can't possibly harm you.
You think that's what I'm worried about? Well, I'm not. I'm not worried about that guy.
Good. I'm glad.
You know, it doesn't have to be the same guy. Something terrible can happen anyway. Something terrible happened to Daddy. And now you. Nothing's gonna stop it from happening to me.
We don't know that. Carrie, I'm never gonna let anything hurt you. I promise you that.
It doesn't matter.
How do you comfort a child who believes the world is made up of catastrophes?
When she sees you're all right, she'll get past it.
One night about 6 months ago, I called my husband from the hospital. Told him I'd be late again. That's okay, he said. I'll go get Chinese and keep it warm in the oven. On the way home, a drunk driver hit his car straight on the driver's side. By the time they got him to the hospital, he was dead.
Kate, why have you kept all this stuff to yourself?
Because I have 2 more years of residency to finish, that I've got to finish, and I have a daughter to raise, alone.
Ah, I understand. Must have been very tough on Carrie,
Yeah, well, at first she thought I chose medicine over her, all the long hours and the time away from home. I tried to explain about the positions people take in life, things that give meaning to you. But a child doesn't care who else you are. You are their mother, first and always. Just when we were beginning to see the light at the end of the tunnel, the accident happened.
Been through a hell of a lot, Kate.
I will not fall apart. I will not.
Yes, you will.
Is that a prediction?
Unless you allow yourself to be human.
I can't. It's too much pain. I just can't.
Try to get there earlier.
It's been just a week, Dr. Willis. No one's asking you to return to the hospital so soon.
I'm all right. I can work.
Well, I know you think that today, but what about next week or the week after?
Don't second guess me, Dr. Graham. It's my decision to make.
He was hiding in the backseat of the car, and he said he would get me if I screamed. Close enough?
No.
Porter, give it up.
No. We had another gotcha rapist. She mentioned it to me, it rang a bell, and it's been driving me crazy ever since.
Well, now you're driving me crazy. Satisfied?
Well, that just goes along with the territory. I'm just trying to move it along a little.
Funny. When you retire, you can play the comedy circuit.
Listen to this one. He was very calm about it, and he just looked at me as I got out of the shower. Then he made me lie down on the tile floor. It was wet and cold. He rolled over on top of me, and he said, "Gotcha." 10 years ago, hung jury, Brent Allen Stuyvesant. I am out of here.
Thank you.
Dr. Miller to radiology. Dr. Miller to radiology.
It's him.
That's the man who raped you?
Yes, he looks younger, but I'm positive it's him.
Okay.
You'll arrest him?
Well, as soon as we find him.
I want him in jail today. Idiot.
Mommy?
Carrie? What's the matter?
I had a bad dream.
Want to climb in with me? I love you, sweetheart. Okay. Okay. In. Okay. Seatbelts, everybody? be at the hospital in 15 minutes. Francis will walk you.
What about after school?
Honey, I'll be waiting right on the steps for you. That bell rings, you come out, you run right into me.
Will you be home for dinner?
Tomorrow night, not tonight.
I can do it myself. I'm very self-sufficient.
Okay, Miss Self-Sufficient. You lead, I'll follow. School awaits.
Thank you, Francis. Here you go. Stuyvesant's office. One moment, please. May I help you?
Mr. Stuyvesant?
Do you have an appointment? One moment, I'll tell him you're here.
Come in.
There's a Detective Porter wanting to see you.
For me?
That's what he said.
Okay, well, tell him I'm on the phone. I'll be with him in a minute.
We have a 52-year-old male, found comatose, bloody spinal tap. CT scan found blood in the ventricles.
He was admitted early this morning, and his condition is essentially unchanged.
The question is, do we operate immediately? Rieger, what do you say?
Isn't it accepted procedure to wait and see if the patient wakes up?
You're not asking a question, Dr. Rieger, are you?
No.
Then state your opinion clearly, without the question mark at the end. If you don't know what to do for the patient, no one does. Do you wait 10 days for the basal artery spasm to subside? Do you increase the blood pressure to perfuse better?
He's in stage 4. Statistics favor waiting.
And your patient?
The next 48 hours will tell. It's a judgment call informed by knowledge. Learn your facts, doctors.
You've lived here how long?
Come on, come on.
680, request assistance.
Each?
Great. Thanks.
Oh, what a morning. I've done a lumbar laminectomy, a ventriculostomy, and revised a shunt. My eyes are beginning to cross.
Here, eat up. You'll feel better.
How's the day going for you?
Pretty good.
So, Greenway's supervising this morning?
Well, she was, but she's off this afternoon.
Oh, lucky you.
Tell me something. Has she ever been known to give a compliment?
Well, there was a day, it's probably apocryphal, back in 1955.
Hold that story. I've got to hear the end of it. Dr. Willis. I'll be there. They're bringing in a head one. Want to play?
Why not? You pitch, I'll catch. But no extra innings. I got dinner plans tonight. Afternoon.
Okay.
I got this side. All right. Okay, Willis. Lift. Coming through. I got it.
Just a bullet one?
Yeah.
Let's get him over to bed 4.
Yeah, this right parietal. Right eye's dilated and fixed. BP 90/50. Pulse 72. All right, lift on 3. 1, 2, 3. We started D5 in water.
We're ready for our case in 4.
Right, guys?
Yeah, we're all set up.
Oh.
Yeah, all right, I got that one.
Okay,
Okay.
easy.
Yeah.
Great.
Good. Open up the autoclave. They have Where's the bullet?
Right parietal lobe.
Put up the CT scan. What are you giving him?
Dazzlam.
Vital signs?
70/30, pulse 123. Going for a dopamine drip. Yeah, but we'll try everything.
Right. You have blood ready to go?
No, we haven't touched them yet. We'll use O negative if we have to.
Right. Turn him towards me. Put him on the donut. Oh my God.
What is it, Kate? Okay, come on, let's move.
He raped me. This is the man who raped me.
Get another surgeon.
There's no one available. Kate's a senior resident on call.
Beep anybody, for God's sake. Come on.
He'll be gone by the time they get here.
Kate!
Let's do it. Wrap him.
Hey, Bill, how are you?
Okay.
hypoxia here, Kate. I don't know why he's not getting enough oxygen.
There's blood oozing from the surrounding tissues. I think the bullet's in the sinus, but I'm not even sure we can find it.
I'm suctioning.
I see the bullet. There's so much blood.
Not responding well. Does the bullet stay in or does it come out? Kate. Is it in or out, damn it?
Let's get it out. Bullet's out. Hurry up, give him blood. Now, he's losing too much.
Heart stopped.
Get the crash cart.
He's not responding. Stop CPR. He's gone.
Well, what was the man's condition when he was brought in?
Confused.
Obtunded?
Yes.
But awake. He was awake.
Yes.
And you recognized him.
Yes.
Then explain to us both, Doctor, if you can, why you went ahead with surgery.
His pressure was dropping. He'd lost a lot of blood.
Did you really think you were competent at that moment to operate on a man who had raped you?
I was the only surgeon immediately available. It was your afternoon off, Dr. Greenway.
Tell me, Dr. Willis, why did you elect to remove the bullet?
It was my judgment to do so.
Explain your reasons.
We were lucky to find the bullet. It had lodged in the sinus. It was my opinion it should come out.
Obviously, you were wrong.
Well, maybe hindsight gives you 20/20 vision, Dr. Greenway, but at the time, I made the right choice.
Why don't you have a seat, Dr. Greenway? We're not adversaries here. Given the amount of bleeding, you must have known there was substantial risk in removing the bullet.
I believe there was greater risk in leaving it in. It was accessible.
But embedded. Deeply embedded.
Yes.
And the risk of tearing the sinus?
I considered it.
Dr. Willis, the man bled to death.
He did not. The man's heart stopped. He died of cardiac arrest.
If a patient is bleeding from the head, the low blood pressure affects the other vital structures.
I know that.
If you cannot give him blood and get his pressure up, then you do something else, which may not be as good for the patient in the long run, but which might allow him to survive now.
I did everything I could.
You were in no emotional condition to operate on that man.
I did everything humanly possible given the circumstances.
Well, it wasn't good enough.
Greenway flayed me open.
Yeah, she's tough.
Was I up to it? What if I had chosen to leave the bullet in? What if I had acted more quickly?
Wait a minute, Doctor. You gotta put those questions aside.
Could another surgeon have saved him? Was I responsible for a man's death? Was I, Wally?
Mommy.
Oh, Carrie.
I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. Never mind. Never mind.
I'm sorry.
I don't want any more pain.
Mommy, don't cry.
A man died on the operating table. They say it's my fault.
That he's dead?
Yes.
What do they think you did wrong?
It's complicated because...
You could never kill somebody. They don't know you. I do. And that's just not something you could do.
You sound like your daddy. That's what he would have said.
Good.
Oh, Carrie, I miss him. I miss him.
So do I.
Oh, God, it's worse at night, isn't it? It's so lonely. I have this huge ache that just doesn't seem to go away.
You know what else he'd say?
What? What?
He said it all the time. Only listen to the good guys.
Oh. You and me, Pumpkin. We're the good guys.
So only listen to me.
Oh. Okay.
I love you.
Joe, that guy that got shot the other day on I-680. We ran a make on him. We got our man.
Yeah?
Stuyvesant. Brent Allen Stuyvesant.
Positive ID?
Same fingerprints. Died on the table. Bullet wound to the head.
Who was the operating doctor?
One guess.
Dr. Kate Willis.
Uh-huh.
Mrs. Gould has been diagnosed as a cervical radiculopathy. Morning, Mrs. Gould. Is it? Mrs. Gould has had a pain down her arms for the past 6 months. She's been in a cast. We've tried traction. Nothing seems to work. Peterson, what would your next course of action be?
What were her EMG results?
Positive.
Then I guess I'd operate.
I concur. Mrs. Gould is scheduled for surgery first thing tomorrow morning.
No.
Well, there's nothing to worry about.
No.
Why don't you want the surgery? It'll help relieve your pain.
I didn't say I didn't want the surgery.
Then what?
I don't want you to do it, Dr. Willis. I'm not having you operate on me.
Why is that, Mrs. Gould?
I have my reasons. I want another surgeon, or I go to another hospital.
She didn't want me because of what she'd heard.
Which was?
That I had killed a patient in the operating room deliberately.
She said that?
She didn't have the guts to. Another patient did. Said he heard it from a nurse who heard it from another nurse or a resident or one of the interns
Wait a
who
second.
was in
Wait a minute.
that operating
Come
room
on.
with me.
Wait a
Who was in that
minute. Wait a
operating
second.
room with me.
That's just hospital gossip line stuff.
How do I continue to function in a hospital where my fellow doctors believe I murdered someone?
Situation's unusual, of course.
Obvious would be a better word. I mean, it couldn't be more obvious if someone had given the woman a knife and told her to do what she wanted.
Why she falsely accused Brent of raping her, I will never know. He's not capable of doing anything like that. I mean, she must be crazy. and then my husband mysteriously dies under her hands? I want this woman arrested for murder.
Mrs. Stuyvesant, your husband was arrested for rape 10 years ago.
And convicted?
Hung jury, case dismissed.
Then it's accusation, nothing more. We're talking about murder here, Mr. O'Donnell. My husband's murder. Now, I'm starting with you because I hear you do your job extremely well. But believe me, if you falter, I know exactly where to go and whom to speak with.
Detective Porter will ask a few questions, see what he can come up with.
How long will this take?
When we know something, you'll know.
Thank you.
Let's keep quiet about this Willis thing. This may be nothing at all.
Maybe.
Meaning?
Read Willis's statement. She said if she would have had a knife that night, she would have killed him herself. Fate gave her the opportunity and the weapon.
He died of cardiac arrest.
Caused by?
Shock, probably. Well, effects of the wound, excessive bleeding, lots of things.
Could he have died from something the surgeon did?
No. There's no indication of that.
Okay, thanks.
But a surgeon doesn't necessarily have to do something to a patient to kill him. Sometimes it's what he didn't do.
Like what?
Well, like waiting too long, hesitating. Now, it wouldn't show up on the pathologist's report. There'll never be any evidence of it. But if he hesitates, even for a fraction of a second, he may kill the patient.
But not deliberately.
Who's to say what's deliberate? Man is fallible, Mr. Porter. Fallible in his skills, fallible in his motives.
Okay, thank you.
Good afternoon, Dr. Willis. You got a minute?
Not really. I have to pick up my daughter from school.
Mind if I walk you to your car?
That's how I got into trouble the last time.
Look, I'll level with you. This morning I took that visit.
Would you tell Dr. Greenway I'd like to see her? Immediately.
Have you ever performed an operation exactly like this before?
Why all these questions?
Just routine.
For a cop, you're a bad liar, Mr. Porter.
All right. Look, we have a very difficult situation here.
You think I wanted him dead?
Maybe.
Oh, no. No, I wanted him to stand trial. I wanted him to be punished. I wanted him to understand what he did to me.
The man was brought in like any other emergency. He was operated on just like any other emergency.
How can you know that? You weren't in surgery either.
That's the report I'm submitting to the medical board, and it ought to put the matter to rest.
A little premature, don't you think?
Carol, I want to put an end to it. For everybody's sake.
Detective Porter's been asking questions.
Carol, how long have we been here? And how long have we waited to rebuild this hospital?
Since the day we started.
The slightest hint of a scandal, a wrongful death suit, and Paul Stryker's going to snatch up his money and go home.
So you're asking me to consider the greater good and forget the smaller truth?
The truth is as I wrote it.
Perhaps. But there has got to be an investigation within the hospital. Somebody has got to speak to every physician and every nurse who was in that operating room. And if you won't do it, I will.
Mrs. Stuyvesant. Tim Mateson, Youngstown Times.
Come in. For how long?
Pardon?
How long have you worked there? You don't seem very old.
Mrs. Stuyvesant, I'm old enough to listen, and you're certainly old enough to do the talking. That's all we need.
I want it on the front page.
You'll have to take that up with my editor, Mr. Burroughs. Shall we start?
Dr. Kate Willis killed my husband.
Let me do that then. You're filling up the bucket with those tears.
My theory is tears make spaghetti sauce taste better.
Cuts the acidity in the tomato sauce?
Yeah, whatever that is.
What we're making here is comfort food, and I think we both could use a healthy portion right about now.
I always thought chicken soup was comfort food. You know, when you're sick, you're supposed to have chicken soup.
That's right, and when you're having life's troubles, you're supposed to have comfort food.
Maybe in your generation, but not kids.
And what did your generation have?
Hamburgers.
Oh, how could I have forgotten?
You know, Mom, you're getting old. The memory's going.
Chop the green pepper.
Well, I'm telling you, Blanchett said that she's recording every session, so she's got all her answers for the record.
Oh, God.
Yep.
Why does this remind me of the principal's office?
Thank you, Doctor. Dr. Shaw, you're next.
Dr. Greenleaf, why are you doing this? Dr. McMahon said that his report to the medical board found no culpability.
That was his conclusion. I have yet to make mine. Well, that's the purpose of a grand jury investigation, isn't it? To gather evidence, to get the facts public. It's investigatory. I can't imagine why you wouldn't support me on that. Could you explain that to me, Mr. Mayor?
Mrs. Stuyvesant, our DA found no reason to prosecute.
The Youngstown Times sees it differently.
You spoke to the press.
No one is taking my husband's death seriously. My husband was murdered, Mr. Payson. I'm not going to turn my back and pretend it didn't happen.
I'm in trouble, aren't I, Mr. Hale?
It would seem so.
I've made up my mind. I want to testify before the grand jury.
You want my opinion? That is a bad choice.
Why? If what they hear is the truth.
Because I'm not permitted to be there to help you. So that anything that you tell them can be used against you later.
Look, I didn't want that man to die. That's the truth. And I have to have a chance to tell them that. Mr. Hale, revenge never crossed my mind. Not for a second.
All right. It'll take a petition, but I'll do it. Oh, you're shaking.
I'm terrified.
You have the best lawyer in town. And I can hold my own with any of those guys from Cincinnati and Cleveland, too. Murder cases are my specialty.
Mr. Mayor, Mr. Mayor, Mr. Mayor, Mr. Mayor, Mr. Mayor, do you support the convening of the grand jury, Mr. Mayor?
Well, of course I support it. There's no better way of getting the facts out to the people.
Then you think the entire story hasn't been told?
Mr. Mayor, please, about that.
We are gathering facts to determine if, and I say if, there is a need for criminal prosecution. Now, this is an investigatory process. It's not a trial. So you people just slow down, okay? I mean, the horse is not even out of the barn yet, and you're locking the door. Listen, I gotta run. I'm really late. Listen, I'll talk to you later, okay?
Are you saying the entire story hasn't been told? Mr. Mayor, some say you're ducking the issue.
Detective Porter, you were assigned to the case of rape involving Dr. Kate Willis?
Yes.
When did you first meet Dr. Willis?
When she came to my office to try to give us a composite of her assailant, I had a police artist with me.
And did her description of her assailant fit the description of the late Brent Allen Stuyvesant?
More or less.
Was there a time when she absolutely identified Brent Stuyvesant?
Yes, sir.
Tell us about that.
I brought her pictures of several men previously arrested for rape and asked her if her assailant was among them. And she picked him out immediately.
Let's be clear about this. She positively identified him.
She said, "That's the man who raped me."
Now, Detective, you also investigated the events surrounding Mr. Stuyvesant's death, didn't you?
Yes, sir, I did.
And why was that investigation started?
Mr. Stuyvesant's widow was concerned about the manner in which he was killed.
And did you share her concern?
I had my questions.
And why was that?
The day Dr. Willis was at the station with me, she told me that if she could have gotten the knife away from her rapist, she would have killed him on the spot. Somehow the coincidence of it, that he in fact did die under her knife, well, made me wonder.
Now, Dr. Shaw, you had operated with Dr. Willis prior to the surgery in question?
Many times. She's a brilliant surgeon.
That's not what I asked, Doctor, and it's a matter of opinion. Now, let's review the day in question. You were in the operating room before Dr. Willis entered?
Yes.
What happened when she came in?
Dr. Willis wanted to know what I'd given the patient and what his vital signs were.
Was he awake?
Barely, but his blood pressure was down and was dropping.
As I understand it, then, it was imperative that surgery begin as quickly as possible.
Yes.
Tell us what happened next.
Well, Dr. Willis asked one of the residents to secure the patient's head, and then she took a look at him.
What did she say?
She said that he was the man that raped her.
She must have been shocked.
Ah, of course. We all were.
Did you advise calling another surgeon to operate?
Yes, I did. And I'm sure that Dr. Willis would have stepped aside, but there was no other surgeon immediately available, and there was very little time to waste, so Dr. Willis had to operate immediately.
Haven't you skipped something?
No.
It was my understanding that Dr. Willis hesitated.
Well, for a moment, it was just mere seconds. Time was negligible.
You said, "Kate, let's move." Do you remember saying that?
No.
Residents, the intern, the nurses, they all testified under oath that Dr. Willis seemed to hesitate, and you said, "Kate, let's move."
I don't remember that.
Dr. Shaw, are you close friends with Dr. Willis?
Yes.
Romantically involved?
No.
Is your friendship clouding your memory?
No, it is not.
So, Doctor, do you remember any other operation performed by Dr. Willis where she was warned that any delay might kill a patient?
No.
You're under oath, Doctor.
I don't remember any such time.
You don't recall a time when Dr. Greenway came into the operating room while Dr. Willis was operating and asked her to determine the procedure she was going to use on a patient who, like Brent Stuyvesant, had been admitted with a bullet wound to the head?
Yes, Dr. Greenway. That's
Do you remember what Dr. Greenway said to Dr. Willis?
Dr. Greenway...
Let me refresh your memory. According to testimony given by others in the OR that day, Dr. Greenway said to Dr. Willis, "He can die while you're making up your mind, Doctor. All you have to do is move a little slower. You won't kill him, but you won't save him either." Do you remember her saying that?
You're taking a comment completely out of context.
That'll be all, Dr. Shaw. You may step down.
Carrie Marie Willis, what are you doing up at 2 a.m.?
The same thing you are. Worrying.
Yes, I have to testify tomorrow.
I know. Isn't that what you're worried about?
Yes, very. I have to say the right things.
I want to be there.
Oh, sweetheart, you have school. I don't want you to...
I want to give you moral support.
Moral? You want to give me moral support?
I'm old enough.
sure could use the help. Dr. Shaw had given the patient Lasix and Aramine because he didn't have a dopamine drip. I wanted to give him blood, but there wasn't time to do a cross-match.
All this took place before you recognized him.
Yes.
And then?
I asked the junior resident to put the patient on a headrest, and he turned his head toward me.
And you recognized Mr. Stuyvesant?
Yes.
As the man you say raped you?
Yes.
There was no doubt in your mind?
None.
Now, Dr. Willis, did you at one time tell Detective Porter that if you could have wrestled the knife away from your rapist, you would have killed him? Dr. Willis? Do you recall saying that to Detective Porter?
Yes.
Wasn't that your first instinct?
No.
Well, what happened to your thirst for revenge? Huh? Did it simply evaporate?
He was a critically wounded patient. His blood pressure was dropping. I knew that
You're telling us you treated him just like any other patient?
Yes.
Dr. Willis, didn't Dr. Shaw have to prod you to move more quickly?
Just for the moment.
Do you remember a time when Dr. Greenway told you that if you didn't want to save a patient, all you had to do was move a little slower?
In another situation, yes.
Thank you, Dr. Willis. That about covers it.
Don't you know that I've replayed that night over and over in my mind? Every detail, every move I made, every second that went by until I knew for certain that I did my best.
We're done here, Dr. Willis.
I used every surgical skill I had. I tried to save that man. I wanted him to live.
Step down, Dr. Willis. Your time here is finished.
Carrie.
Mommy.
It's all over.
How'd you do?
The best I could, but I don't know.
Oh, Mommy, did you mess up? Did you say the wrong things?
Francis, would you take Carrie to the car? I'll be there in just a minute. You go on, sweetheart. I'll be there in a minute. Dr. Greenway, what are you going to say in there?
My testimony is private and privileged information.
You haven't liked me from the first day we met, have you?
Your likability has nothing to do with this case.
I did everything in my power to save that man. I've searched my heart, and I know that's true. But you won't listen. You're going to walk in there and destroy my life.
You have observed Dr. Willis in surgery,
Yes, many times.
but not on the afternoon in question, when she was operating on Mr. Stuyvesant.
No, when I arrived in the operating room, the patient was already deceased.
In your capacity as chief of surgery, did you question Dr. Willis about the events of that night?
Yes, both Dr. McMahon and I questioned her.
And did she acknowledge that there was perhaps a hesitation on her part?
No.
Statements from the residents, the interns, and the nurses who assisted all said that the anesthesiologist had to caution her to move more quickly.
My understanding is that her hesitation was a fraction of a second.
But you had to caution her on a previous surgery, didn't you?
No.
Dr. Greenway, we have here the exact quote from you on that occasion. You said, he can die while you're making up your mind, doctor. All you have to do is move a little slower. You won't kill him, but you won't save him either. Did you say that to Dr. Willis?
Yes.
Then you cautioned her before.
Mr. O'Donnell, I have said those words to every young surgeon for whom I've ever been responsible. She was not procrastinating. I was merely warning her what could happen if she did.
Obviously she did with Mr. Stuyvesant.
That is not obvious to me.
Would you like to explain that?
The amount of time it took her to move, as Dr. Shaw put it, could not have made any difference to this patient.
But she elected to remove the bullet.
Removing the bullet or leaving it in place is always left to the judgment of the surgeon. Both procedures have risks.
What are you saying, Doctor?
I'm saying that in all likelihood, this patient would have died regardless of what was done for him.
Regardless of what was done to him?
Nothing was done to him, Mr. O'Donnell, that should not have been done. Dr. Willis is a fine surgeon.
Is it your judgment that Dr. Willis should have undertaken this surgery?
Dr. Willis had no choice. You cannot prosecute a surgeon for what she may have been thinking before she operated. While she operated, my understanding from my own very thorough investigation is that she did absolutely everything she possibly could, in spite of the circumstances involved.
Thank you.
I came to apologize for my tirade.
Not necessary, Doctor.
Well, then, good night, Dr. Greenway.
Don't let anyone shake your faith in your abilities. You're a talented doctor. Good night.
Does this mean it's all over, Mommy?
It means there won't be another trial, but I'm gonna need your help, Carrie. It's more of that mortal support you're so good at.
Okay.
Inside, it isn't over yet. That man in the parking lot, he hurt me. And I have to tell you about it. I have to admit it so I can get better.
And then we can go home?
Carrie, I love what I do. Different from how I love you, different from how I loved your daddy. Do you understand?
Maybe.
It's the part of me that was there when I was your age, before I met your daddy or had you. It's the part of me that makes me Kate. You know how you feel when you draw a beautiful picture or you work very hard on your science project and you finally finish it?
Yeah.
Well, that's the part of me that loves being a doctor. I want to be proud of myself, just the way I'm so very proud of you.
Then we can't go home, right?
Not until I finish my 2 years.
But then we can go home.
Okay. Okay.
I'm not saying you have to fire her. Let her resign. Let her make up the reason.
I can't do that.
I'm prepared to withdraw my funds. Not going to have my name associated with even a breath of scandal.
The grand jury couldn't find one shred of reputable evidence to support Mrs. Stuyvesant's claim.
Unfortunately, public opinion does not concur.
Walter, you want the new hospital? It's as simple as that.
Mr. Fernandez was admitted to the hospital complaining of dizziness and weakness to his right side. We ordered a CT scan, suspecting a mild stroke.
Dr. Paulings, would you take over rounds for Dr. Willis, please?
Yes, ma'am.
I need to talk
Results
to you.
of the CT scan showed an enlarged ventricle. Spinal tap was done and some blood shot.
Dr. McMahon has asked for your resignation. Dr. Willis's letter of resignation?
That was a political decision.
Exactly. And here's mine.
What? Hey, Carol.
We're all resigning. Show some guts, you old fool.
I got a phone call to make. Get back to work, all of you. And that means you.
Back to work, Doctor.
More beautiful words were never spoken.
Let's go.